Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. We'll see you Thursday, January 24th, for a stand-up show I'll be hosting with me and my friends. It's in Hollywood, 8 p.m., $10. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets. I'm here with Mark Van Landuyt and the Miserable Liberal. Hi, how are you?
Hey, greetings, Jimmy.
Greetings. Mark Van Landuyt is the vice chair of the Progressive Caucus of California.
ADEMS.vote. ADEMS.vote if you're in California.
Yes, so I want to tell people, this is interesting. I don't know if you know this. Like, if you listen to Trump, and you would think that there's a war starting on the southern border of the United States with, but there's not. It's not. Most immigrants who enter the country do so legally. Federal data shows so. We've known this for a while, that we have net zero immigration with Mexico. What does that mean? That means just as many people enter the United States from Mexico as exit the United States into Mexico. So let's say 1 million Mexicans migrate into the United States a year. 1 million Mexicans migrate back to Mexico each year. So that's called net zero immigration with Mexico. So there really isn't. So this problem is really, again, it's just scapegoating, is what Trump is doing, is scapegoating our problems in the United States on poor people with no money and no power who want to come to the United States and be Americans just like us. Granted, they need to do it legally, right? But a lot of those people have a case for asylum, right? So asylum, so people don't understand. So I just want to give you this. A September 2017 Office of Immigration Statistics data brief, that's from Trump's administration, estimated that in fiscal year 2016, the last year for which complete data is available, there were 170,000 successful illegal border crossings occurring outside of authorized ports of entry. So that would be 170,000 successful crossings happening where Trump wants to put a wall. That's outside of the border crossings where there's a guard and a thing and a booth. So when outside of those areas, 170,000. So what they're saying is, in places where we don't already have security, 170,000 people successfully cross. That's what that means. Okay.
And there's a huge difference between immigrants and migrant workers that come in, that come out.
Right. That's right.
And so these numbers, I'm sure it's the seasonal migration for a lot of these agricultural huge. Of course, yes. So, and when people say, "Oh, immigrants going to come here and take my job," your job isn't being taken by a poor person in a desperate situation. Your job is being given to a poorer person in a more desperate situation than you by a capitalist. Mm-hmm. A capitalist is giving your job to someone in a more desperate situation than you. It's not that guy doesn't have the power in the situation. It's the capitalist that does. Right?
That's a great point, Jimmy, because also that capitalist has certain information that they need to require from a new employee.
That's right.
They have to have, the right identity credentials, supplied, and they have to have, in some cases, fingerprints, but mostly they have to show citizenship, and they have to, you have to show a driver's license or a birth certificate. And when these businesses don't, they're working against an American.
That's right. So, by the way, 170,000. That sounds like a lot. 170,000 people cross the border. Well, guess what? That's roughly down 90% since the year 2000. Down 90% since the year 2000. And it's about 1/7 of the roughly 1.2 million immigrants who obtained lawful permanent resident status via a green card. So we give 1.2 million green cards out a year, and we're worried about 170,000 people outside of that. Again, we should be worried about it and we should stop them, but it's not a crisis.
No.
Trump has literally shut the government down over this. Over 1/7 of the people who, and by the way, there is border. Let's get through this this article real quick, and then we'll talk about it. In fiscal 2016, for instance, the Department of Homeland Security estimated that 628,799 people who had previously entered the country legally overstayed their visa that year. That's where all the illegal immigration's coming from. People who actually enter the United States legally with a visa and then they don't leave. That's why the border wall wouldn't stop the problem of illegal immigration, because most of it happens this way. And so so when Trump wants to put a wall to stop 170,000 people a year from getting in, that's called putting a Band-Aid on a dead body. Here's the dead body right here. This is right here. Almost 750,000 people every year versus 170,000. So other groups, such as the Center for Migration Studies, have similarly estimated that the visa overstays account for about 2/3 of the total number of people joining the undocumented population in any given year. So the problem are those people. And we already have border security to try to catch the other people. The number attempting to get across the southern border is probably the lowest it's been since at least the 1970s. So do you see when Trump comes on and says this is a crisis, we have a crisis, it's just propaganda. So whenever Trump gets in a tight pickle, he goes back to the well of banging on illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants. I'm surprised the Trump administration hasn't really focused on overstays because that's where the action is. And that's from Robert Warren. He's a demographer with the Center for Migration Studies. That's where all the action is on overstays, not at the border.
Jimmy, can I add one more fact for you?
Sure.
All right. Department of Homeland Security issued information in 2016 that the LA Times shared, and it's actually Canadians have a larger overstay than Mexicans.
Canadians.
It says Canadians lead U.S. immigrants Canadians lead U.S. immigrants in unauthorized visa overstays.
Every Canadian I've met in the United States has been here illegally.
That's why I say build that wall on Canada. I'm sick of those snobby Canucks from Montreal.
I'm so tired of them coming down here with their polite ways.
Yes.
For example, in 2016, it was 93,000 Canadian overstays contrasted to Mexican overstays, 42,000.
That's more than double. I'm no math surgeon. So here's this is from the article Washpo and Wonk blog. That's in that article. And here's the illegal border entries dropped 90%. Estimated successful illegal entries between southwest border checkpoints. So it used to be up around 2.2 million. Look at this. Look how low it is.
Yeah.
170,000. That's an unbelievable reduction. And if you're listening to Trump, you would think we're being invaded by Mexico. In fact, it's the exact opposite.
So I believe what the Republicans say when they say some of these infants could be in gangs. And I've seen Bugsy Malone. I've seen the movie. I've seen those infants in gangs.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly does happen. So I know there's a lot of people who watch the show who agree, or there's a sizable number of people who watch the show who agree with Trump's immigration policies. I just want you to have the facts. The facts is this is a pretend crisis. We already have border security. Barack Obama deported more than all the presidents combined since 1890. So it isn't like Trump's coming in and doing anything. He's just being a bigger dick about it and blaming people with no money and no power for the problems that the United States corporations and neoliberals have created.
Jimmy, people fleeing oppression and looking for opportunity, that's not what America's about.
That's the whole thing about this country. You're supposed to. They're fleeing drug wars.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming here for better economic opportunity. So that's and by the way, if I lived in one of those countries, if I lived in Guatemala, or if I was a farmer in Mexico and I got my livelihood taken away from me by NAFTA, which they did, I would sneak into this country to try to get. Well, let me see. What is that? I could either sneak into America and have a better life, or I could stay here and starve. I would sneak into America to have a better life. And so would you. And if you wouldn't, you're a bit of a pussy.
We must protect America from future Americans.
Our next live show is a stand-up show we're doing Thursday, January 24th in Hollywood at the Sycamore Tavern.
$10 tickets Thursday, January 24th. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all of our live shows and to find out when our live Jimmy Dore show is coming to your town. Plus, if you can, become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week. And remember to make sure you're subscribed. They unsubscribe people. You make sure you subscribe. Click the bell so they send you a notice when we drop a video. Thanks for your support.